So yesterday we talked about reading partners and how reading with someone can help build your reading work or build your level of reading and understanding. Does everyone remember that from yesterday? Yeah. All right, so today we're going to be talking about perspectives. Okay, what does that mean, perspective? Does anyone know what that means? Nope, that's all right, because we are going to learn about perspectives today. So yesterday, my niece was telling me about the redesign of the bedroom she shares with her younger sister. While Nina was at a swimming meet that lasted several hours, Ella rearranged the room. She explained that the room had been painted purple and that their new furniture was white. She described where she put her new bed and where Nina's was placed. She told me about how she moved the bookshelf to a wall near the window and put down a small area rug and pillows to create a reading nook. She was so excited and exclaimed, "It turned out exactly how I wanted." I asked, "Does Nina like the room?" And Ella shrugged her shoulders. And then it dawned on me. I was so caught up in the story, what Ella was thinking and what Ella was feeling, that I didn't much think about her sister Nina. What must it have been like for her to come home and go into the bedroom? Nina did not have the chance to have a say about which side of the room she would sleep on and where the furniture might go. Nina was probably also really excited about redesigning the room, and she probably had some ideas she wanted to try. But all of the decisions and the fun parts about setting up the room had been made already by her older sister. She must have felt so invisible, like her thoughts simply weren't important at all. So I was so involved in what Ella was saying and how she was feeling, I wasn't also thinking about Nina. Okay, so perspective just means what side of the story you're looking at. So I was only hearing Ella's side of the story, so I was only hearing Ella's perspective. Okay, so today I want to teach you that readers think about whose voices they hear in a story and whose voices are silenced or missing. They ask themselves, whose perspectives are missing? Then they reread parts of the story and imagine, what might this character think or say if he or she had a stronger voice in the story? All right, we're almost done. All right, so watch me as I try this, okay? So I'm going to read you part of a story. It's a small moment about being in line at the grocery store. All right, so there are 3 characters. So me, Mrs. Thomas, who's also shopping, and a little girl who is shopping. We're all in line at the store. Okay, so as I read, let's think about who is in it and whose voices or whose perspective we hear the most strongly. Ready? Are you thinking about whose voices we hear the most strongly? You guys ready? All right, here we go. One morning, I went to the grocery store. After putting the items I wanted to buy in my cart, I stood in line to pay for my groceries. Standing in line already was a little girl, a woman, and then me, waiting for our turn. When it was the little girl's turn, the cashier looked up and over to the woman behind her. "Ah, my favorite customer. Good morning, Mrs. Thomas. Did you find everything you need?" The little girl standing in front of Mrs. Thomas said, but Mrs. Thomas smiled and replied, "Good morning to you too. Yes, I'd like to purchase some matches along with these items. I'm in a bit of a hurry." And she began putting her groceries on the counter. The little girl raised her arm, but the cashier continued his conversation with Mrs. Thomas and began to ring up and then bag her purchases. So now, who do we hear more about in this story? Who did we hear the most about? Niley?
Miss Thomas?
Yeah, we heard about Mrs. Thomas the most. So I know from the story that she is really in a hurry and needs to get going. I know because we got to hear her voice. She actually said, "I'm in a bit of a hurry." I don't get to hear her inner thinking, but I feel like we get a lot of attention to her actions and her words and how other people treat her. The clerk spoke to her too. Mrs. Thomas seems very respected in this story, like her perspective is strong in the story. All right, so give me a thumbs up if you agree that Mrs. Thomas seems to have a strong voice in this story. Let me see, do you agree? Kevin, Irsu, Gabe, Paxton agree. Waiting for all thumbs to see if you agree or not. Those of you who are not giving me thumbs, I know you're not listening to me. All right, so did you see how I first thought about the characters, asking myself who was in the story? Then I thought about one character, asking myself about her inner thoughts and feelings, thinking about how strong her voice seemed. I noticed if we hear her dialogue or her inner thinking, and that helped me judge how strong this perspective seemed. All right, so that is all we're going to talk about perspectives today. All right, so we are already done with our lesson. All right, are you guys ready for me to show you your independent work?